Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're gearing up to take a really fascinating deep dive straight into the human brain. We're going to look closely at the hidden mechanics behind human behavior. How habits form, how they solidify, and how they can sometimes just spiral completely out of our control. We're unpacking the mechanics and the consequences of addiction, mapping out exactly what happens in our minds and our bodies. If you've ever wondered why certain habits are so incredibly hard to break, well, this explainer is going to map it all out for you. Let's get into it.
So I want to start off with a question that might catch you a little off guard. What do you scrolling on your phone, drinking alcohol, smoking, gambling, and gaming all have in common? I mean, on the surface, some of these look completely normal, right? You probably scrolled on your phone right before starting this explainer. Others obviously carry some heavy social stigmas. But the truth connecting the whole shebang is actually pretty profound. Every single one of these behaviors has the potential to become an addiction. Addiction isn't just this narrow concept reserved for hard drugs. No, it's a powerful condition that can slowly, almost invisibly, take complete control of a person's thoughts, their daily behaviors, and ultimately their entire life.
Section 1. Defining the addiction trap.
To truly understand how this happens, we really have to look at the clinical reality. Addiction happens when a person becomes dependent on a substance or a behavior, even when it causes them undeniable harm. And I want you to focus on that last part for a second. Even when it causes harm. This isn't just about a lack of willpower. At a micro level, inside the human brain, actual structural changes are occurring. Imagine a healthy brain where neural pathways light up repeatedly as a specific action is performed. Over time, the brain's reward system physically changes and adapts to that input. It literally rewires itself. And that makes it incredibly, intensely difficult to stop the behavior, despite all the negative consequences piling up around the person.
Section 2. Chemical hooks, substances.
Now, that rewiring process traditionally brings to mind some specific triggers. When most people hear the word addiction, they usually picture the classic culprits: nicotine, alcohol, prescription drugs, and illegal drugs. What connects these four categories is their ability to act as incredibly potent chemical hooks. When introduced to the body, these substances bypass our natural reward systems entirely. They just flood the brain with signals that create overwhelmingly powerful cravings.
But the absolutely crucial point here is what happens after those cravings take hold. It turns into a massive trap of physical dependence. The body literally begins to rely on the presence of these substances just to function normally. And this physical reliance is exactly what makes quitting so incredibly difficult. When a person tries to stop, they aren't just fighting a mental urge, they're fighting their own biology. They face withdrawal, which is highly uncomfortable and physically taxing, creating a massive barrier to recovery. The substance has effectively hijacked the body's baseline of normalcy.
Section 3. Digital traps, behaviors.
But what happens when there's no chemical introduced to the body at all? Can the brain still be hijacked? Absolutely. Not all addictions involve swallowing a pill, drinking from a bottle, or inhaling smoke. Behavioral addictions can be just as powerful and just as life-altering. We're talking about social media addiction, gaming addiction, gambling, and shopping addiction. Think about it. These are everyday activities. We all shop, most of us use social media, many of us game just for fun. But for some, these modern, often digital activities spiral completely out of control. These digital traps are masterfully designed to trigger the exact same dopamine spikes in your brain's reward center as a physical chemical drug. Crazy, right?
Comparing the two side by side reveals a pretty stark difference. On one side, we have physical dependence caused by substances. This is characterized by that bodily reliance and the uncomfortable, often painful withdrawal we just talked about. But on the other side, we have reward system hijacking caused by behaviors. Instead of physical withdrawal, behavioral addictions trap you in an endless cycle. It's this loop of temporary pleasure followed immediately by an intense desire for more. You scroll, you get a hit of pleasure, the pleasure fades, and bam, you crave another scroll. It's a behavioral loop that tricks the brain into dependency without a single drop of a physical substance.
Section 4. The cost of addiction.
Whether it's a chemical hook or a digital trap, the results ultimately bleed into a person's everyday life. And I want to slow down here for a second because the total impact on a person's life is really sobering. Addiction doesn't stay neatly contained in one little corner of your mind, it spreads like wildfire. Look at health. We see a devastating increase in the risk of disease, skyrocketing anxiety, deepening depression, and the terrifying risk of overdose. Then look at relationships. Addiction thrives on isolation. It leads to family members arguing, drifting apart, broken trust, and severe conflict with friends.
Moving down to finances. Feeding an addiction requires resources, right? It means wallets continuously emptying and bills piling up, creating massive financial instability. And finally, education and career. As the brain's reward system demands more of the addiction, focus is reduced, deadlines are missed, productivity is lost, and performance sharply declines. It's a total, cascading destruction of stability across every major pillar of life.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a final, thought-provoking question. We've seen how addiction physically changes the brain, whether through substances or behaviors, and we've seen the devastating costs. So I ask you, where is the line between your everyday habits and a behavioral addiction? When does checking your phone for work cross over into an endless cycle of temporary pleasure? When does a hobby become a dependency? It's a fine, often really blurry line, and understanding the mechanics we explored today is the absolute first step in recognizing it. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. I hope this leaves you reflecting a bit on your own daily routines. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.